Heyo, and welcome back to the Boston Sports Brothers podcast. Good to be with everybody as we have another beautiful spring day on the docket. Gentlemen, good to see you. How are you? How was your weekend?
Doing well,
Happy
boys. How are you?
Mondays.
Fantastic. The
Some
weather is great. What's there to complain about?
Nothing.
Except
except for
the
that one
refs.
day.
Oh boy. We'll
Oh,
talk we'll talk refs. We're gonna start Celtics here. We no Gabe tonight. He's on the move in personal life with things going on one place to the other. So good luck to Gabe on his big move. And he'll be back with us next week. But we got producer Bernie back with us tonight as well. Bernie, good to see you. He'll be chiming in throughout the episode, giving us all the stats and info that we need. And we're starting Celtics here. Going back in time, Big E, we got 3 games to recap. Take it away, my friend.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey since our last recording. When we recorded last, it was after game one. Won a pretty decisive game in the second half against the Magic, and wow, we are now in an interesting series that I'm not going to go and tell us where we are right now. We're going to go game by game, but first game two took place on Wednesday after a little bit of a layover. Tatum, after taking a tumble in game one, they decided to hold him out, couldn't go right. So who comes in and who plays his ass off but Jaylen Brown? Jaylen Brown came in and said, "Hey, you want to know what? I'm also this man. I can do these things. I am the best player in the series, not named Jason Tatum." Well, Paulo Banchero may have some things to say with that, but he had a hell of a
Nice.
game and really balled on out. So I would really love to just give him a little bit of a huge shout out. And I think the other big takeaway from this game too was Porzingis getting an inadvertent elbow to the head, getting the blood gushing everywhere, coming back, making the free throws, going back in the stitches in. And I love what Scal said. The unicorn got his horn cut off. It was hilarious, and he balled out when he came back. That arena was nuts. Speaking
Plotty, why
about
don't you
being at
tell
the
us about it?
arena,
You were
yeah.
there.
Speaking about being at the arena, I want to give it to Plotty. Plotty, you were boots on
Yeah.
the ground. Tell us about the game.
Yeah, Gabe and I were there. Incredible. It was a slow start, not gonna lie, kind of waiting for a spark or something to happen. And then that motherfucker KCP just starts to egg on the crowd like, "Oh, you want to boo me? Why don't you boo me louder?" And from that moment on, it was like, "Game on, let's go, buddy." Like, and we were on one. We were definitely feeling good and the chance were going, but everyone was. And then just the entire game, it was like the intensity in the building ramped up. The Celtics were playing well without Tatum. Jaylen Brown with the quietest 36, 10, and 5 that I feel like I've ever seen. He was just unbelievable. The
His defense
Porzingis,
too, right?
yeah, great
so
all
important in the
around. And
series.
and the Porzingis thing, like I walked out of there and I was like thinking to myself, like, I'm trying to think of another game with that kind of moment where the intensity ratcheted up or something that shifted and that I was at. And I was like, the only other time that I felt a building like that was when Joe Kelly hit the guy on the Yankees and they had the brawl. And like it just like took it to this whole new level, this energy that like you can't find. And then they showed him on the big board with the blood in his hair and like dude, we were on our feet. Like my voice was not at full tilt the next day. Great night at the Garden. Great game too. One that you'll remember forever. So that's all I'm going to say on the Celtics. Everybody else, we can break down the trip down to Orlando that they had as well.
Yeah. Anybody want to take game three? Kick us off. If not, I'm happy to take it.
No, I'll kind of, I'll, I'll jump in. I did what I wanted them to do. I mean, I know they didn't do it in game four. They did it in game three, but they did take care of business. They did split down there. That first game for the Magic coming back home, game three, that was a must win for them. Backs up against the wall. That's really like their game four. Um, so really it was back and forth, back and forth. We've been playing sloppy. Let's just put it that way. I feel like as a group, as we've just kind of been a little off. We haven't been where we were last postseason. And I know we're still the same lineup hasn't been out there for that long, and I do understand that. I get that, but I do want to see more from this team. I'd like to see them turn it on. I understand this is a talented and very, very physical Orlando Magic team. I was talking to Gabe about it. KCP just matches up very well with Tatum. He's given Tatum problems for a while. I've always like kind of looked, and the only guy to really ever give Tatum problems was KCP, and he does lock him up pretty well. But that game three for me wasn't really. I mean, it was a must win for them. They were dropping confetti at the end of the game. Come
So
on.
Yeah,
yeah, I don't want to really talk about the games. I think I have a few takeaways from the whole
Do it.
series, which I
go
think
ahead.
have
Yeah.
been really, really important. So someone called out Jaylen Brown's defense. He has been an absolute monster on Paolo Banchero. He's been knocking him off his game, not letting him get to where he wants to go. I mean, Banchero's going to get to where he wants to go some of the time because he's that good, but JB's been active, his hands, he's been stealing the ball. So that's a very, very important thing that I've seen in this series. Also, I think it's been a huge test for the Celtics. I think it's been a sneaky like bigger than what we expected because they don't help. They don't play help defense. So they're playing man up and they're knocking the Celtics off the 3-point line, making them go to the paint, and they're actually hitting them with adversity right now in the first round, which they haven't been used to all season. We've been watching this team. We've been saying it all year. They've been lights out from behind the arc, and now they're having to play a different way, and they're figuring out a way to win. So having this adversity in the first round, I think, is really important. And it's going to help them along the way because I think they will get back to the way that they are, Sam, against a different team. I think we're just seeing the matchup with Wagner too. I want to give him his due. He has an intangible that like I just can't figure out. He'll hit shots that how is he hitting these shots? Almost like it's just kind of it's interesting. He's got something going on that I can't quite get. He's a really good player. So just a couple tidbits, but yeah, I think it's been a great series and some good adversity for the team.
Couldn't
What do you
agree
I
guys
think
more.
think on this on the switch of Horford or Brown to White on Bonchero? I don't know if you guys have noticed that at all.
It's
I
good.
have
I
noticed
mean,
that.
But
And
go
go
ahead,
ahead, go ahead,
Biggie.
buddy. No, I was just gonna say it just shows Derek White's versatility and like it really not just Derek White. It's the entire team and like even someone like Peyton Pritchard, who really did
Yeah,
not have his A game, in game four.
he hasn't been
He,
good.
he no,
He hasn't.
yeah, he has not been good in this series, and that's okay. His defense was great though last night, and you
Yes,
want to know what?
yes.
That's why he was out there on the floor. And say whatever you want about a dude. If something's not working, you can always come back and play hard on defense. And I think that's the Celtics calling card and why they're up 3-1 in the series. Their offense definitely is a little bit stagnant, and they're playing a different way than what they're used to. But I
Mhm.
think at the end of the day, like Josh was saying, this is going to build adversity, and this is what's going to help this team later down the road, where they play. They're going to play other teams if they advance past this round. Someone like maybe the New York Knicks, who are a pretty gritty team. We had a great game against them a little bit less than a month ago, and other teams that are down the path like Cleveland and whoever comes out of the West. We're not going to play the same style each round. I also want to give the Magic their due. Really good team. Like they're missing
Young.
two good players. They're young. Banchero
sleepy
is
seven seed,
22. He's
sleepy
22.
seven seed.
How old's
So
Wagner
they
too?
they
He's young
they
too,
are.
right?
What was that?
How old's Wagner too? He's like
Twenty-two,
He's
early
like
23.
20s.
he's
Yeah.
and they're
What a
missing Mo
duo.
Wagner and Jalen Suggs. So two pretty good players. So I don't think that those players coming back is going to tip the scale of the series their way. But 23 years old for Wagner.
Hmm.
Yeah, 23 for Wagner. I don't think the series would tip their way, but we got to give credit where credit is due. Like Magic know how to they defend well, and they're a young, versatile team. Anthony Black has been
They're
annoying the hell out
physical,
of me all
man.
series.
Yeah,
Agreed.
They're
He's
physical.
like he's a player I would
Pesky.
love to have on the Celtics because I can tell when someone's a pest on the other side that there's someone that I'd want on my team.
He's
these
got a little
games
Marcus
have
Smart in
been
him.
a little bit. These games have
A little
been
bit.
somewhat torturous to watch, right? Like they can't sort of break away from Orlando and get that 15, 20 point lead. Orlando's always just hanging around. Uh, Finally, I think last night was where the Celtics made their mark, though. That last 4 minutes and 20 seconds when it was 91 all, and then the 16-7 run. Tatum really did take over at the end of the game. The way and his free throw making was spot on yesterday, which
Hmm.
was clutch. And got to give due to Al Horford. That man
Oh my
had the
god,
most impactful
Oh,
6, 6, and 5 blocks for Al Horford. The only other player over 38 years old to have 5 blocks in a playoff game, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and the other is Al Horford.
great
So
company to
incredible.
be in.
credit to Al. So Celtics march on game 5 tomorrow night back at the Garden. Looking forward to that. Going to be electric atmosphere there with a round 2 ticket on the line. And we're going to bring in producer Bernie now, talk a little NBA overall playoffs, fellas. Bernie is obviously our resident New Yorker, has been on the Knicks, but also is helping to produce NBA radio over X Sirius. So Bernie, give us just a few nuggets. Obviously, I think biggest news certainly Knicks, but we've got to talk Dame Lillard, unfortunately, and everything that's going on out west as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to start with the Knicks. I want to break down just game four, gritty win for the New York Knicks. It really happened in the fourth quarter. As a fan, I'm going to put my bias into perspective here, and I'm going to put the producer side to rest for a second. It's a little frustrating because I just want to outright win a game by 6 or 8 points or just have, a 10-point victory. But every game has really come down to the wire, the final possession. And this game certainly had, all the entertainment, all the drama. It was an 11-point deficit that the Knicks had to come back down in the fourth quarter. They scored 30 points on 16 possessions. Brunson had 15 and Towns had 8. So that's 23 of those 30 points. It was, again, a gritty win for the New York Knicks. They go up now 3-1. They're going to play again tomorrow night. So this is Monday night. So tomorrow night, Tuesday night, they head back to the Garden. They're up 3-1. But really, what happened at the end of the game is what everybody's talking about. And that is the no call or the missed call on Tim Hardaway Jr., former Knick. Now, the referee, David Guthrie, he actually told one of the reporters on, I think it was Detroit News, that the foul should have been called. And in the report, because I think every officiating crew has to put out a report after the game, they admitted that it was a no call. And now putting my bias aside again, I will agree that that should have been a foul on Josh Hart. They had the opportunity to take a buzzer-beating three-pointer that would have put them in the lead and won the game. And after Hart committed the contact, there was no call on it. Other than that, the Knicks have been finishing out these games. Brunson has gone to the locker room, it seems like every fourth quarter, and then come back and dominated. Again, this time around, he came out, I think, in the third quarter, and he came in the fourth quarter and put up 15 points. So, again, you need your captain, you need your finisher. He's the most clutch player of the year for a reason, so pretty exciting to see that. But play of the game for the Knicks in this game 4 was Karl-Anthony Towns, the other star player for the Knicks, hitting a deep three with 47 seconds left to give us the win. And I mean, now the momentum shifts to New York side, right? They're up 3-1. They head, like I said, back to the Garden tomorrow night. They need one more win here, and it's looking like, if all goes well, we'll end up facing your guys as Boston Celtics. Other than that, around the league, not too much else. The Lakers, I want to just talk about them for a quick second. They're on the brink of elimination right now. It looks like they could be eliminated. The Minnesota Timberwolves are certainly creating some chaos and trouble for them, which, again, the Knicks connection. Julius Randle has been balling out. Dante DiVincenzo is starting to come to fruition a little bit for the Timberwolves. So really, both sides of these trades are working out. We got Cat, and he's hitting these clutch shots, and the Timberwolves' depth is really showing out. So that is something to keep an eye on. Obviously, they made the massive trade that not even shook the NBA world, but shook the sports world with Luka Doncic. So obviously, they're in win now mode in contention, and if they can't finish it, and if they lose one more game to the Timberwolves, that is going to be something that you'll hear on pretty much every sports talk show. Other than that, just heartbreaking news. My heart goes out to Damian Lillard. He, and I want to give him credit first, and I'll wrap up with this. He came back from the blood clot injury, and, for his body and for him to fight that off and tell, Coach Doc Rivers, I'm good to go. I'm ready to go. I want to help Giannis, and I want to win this series against the Pacers. Credit to him for that, but just absolutely heartbreaking. Today, actually, the news broke that he was diagnosed with a torn Achilles, I think a right Achilles tendon. So he is going to miss the remainder of the playoffs. And
do you
honestly,
guys think his career is done? Because
likely all of next
back.
season too.
I mean, I don't think his career
He's
is
a
done.
shorter guy.
He's not going to be the same player.
Not going to be the same guy. He's not going to be able to cut the same way. He won't be able to drive to the rim the same way. He's always going to have that mental thing in the back of his head. I mean,
the question
your Achilles, that's no joke.
Yeah. The question I want to pose you guys is where do you go from here if you're the Milwaukee Bucks, right?
That's
I think what we should
exactly start over. I think it's time. Like the thing about Giannis is that he needs somebody else alongside him to facilitate and to be there, and they just don't have it. It worked out for the Celtics though. I'll say that. J-Man, chime in.
It's kind of like almost like a little bit almost like the Celtics, like when they got rid of Pierce and Garnett. Like, it's time to move on. You got a title for Milwaukee. Like, you got what you got. It's probably not going to happen again, and just move on. Get what you can get. You're probably going to get some assets. He's still nasty. He's better than Paul and Kevin Garnett. When we traded them,
younger,
so you're going to get
way younger,
way younger, way better. So you're going to get assets. So move on. You got the city of Milwaukee a championship. So they got to be grateful.
Where do you see him?
Well, one team that has been rumored to trade for Giannis, and it will be interesting to see if they actually pull the trigger on it, is the Brooklyn Nets, because they have all these first-round picks. They have 5 future firsts that we actually traded. The Knicks actually traded them for Mikal Bridges. I still think we overpaid, but they do have the draft capital and the assets too. They're a young team. They could bring in a star. I mean, they tried it with Kyrie. They tried it with KD. It didn't work out there. KD's foot was on the line. We all know. But Will they pull the trigger again and trade for another star in Giannis? I mean, I don't
You,
know because it's tough, you know.
you know
Where
who
else
has the
does he go
assets?
though?
You know who has the assets, and this is scary. Oklahoma City.
That
They
would be
have the
scary.
players and the picks.
Yeah.
You don't
So
you
Yeah.
don't like Sam Presti.
if they don't get over the hump this year to get to the finals and win, like they have enough to make a Godfather offer and still be a very good team
Oh,
going into the next 5, 6, 7 years. So
SGA
right.
and
that is
MVP on the
Giannis.
scary to
table
think
for
about,
them.
isn't that?
That'd be crazy.
SGA and Giannis is scary. I mean, simply those two guys alone. How do you stop that tandem, right?
Yeah.
Like
I think Chet Holmgren would have to go in that
Oh,
deal, I would
absolutely. Chet
imagine.
Holmgren has to be a
He's
part of that
out.
deal.
Yeah.
Yep.
maybe Jalen Williams too.
We need a good
Yeah,
Probably.
nickname for
I wouldn't be
Chet,
surprised
Chet
if Isaiah
Holmgren.
Hardenstein went as part of that deal.
Nah,
But
he
you have
looks
to,
like a Chet.
Hey, clip this. This is gonna
You look
happen.
like a
yeah.
Chet.
I mean,
We need it.
honestly,
When
like
you look like a Chet,
in the
you are a
offseason,
Chet.
when this move goes down, you heard it here first on Boston Sports Brothers.
Just like you did that, Peyton Pritchard was going to be sixth man of the year. Thank
That's
you
true.
very much.
In
And
October
with
of
that, yes,
Hold on, you guys don't
congratulations.
have the clutch player of the year.
Oh,
That's all I'm
shut
gonna
the
say.
fuck up, Bernie.
Oh,
We'll
come
see you in the
on.
next
Jason
Come
round.
Tatum,
on.
bro.
All right, we'll see you
Let's
in
see
the
if
next
he
round.
holds up throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, let's
That's
see.
Brunson's only
Keeps
knock.
We
running
will
to the
see.
locker room
We
over
will
there.
see.
Yeah,
We will
That'd be
see.
good.
another dynamic brought here to the Boston Sports Brothers is having a New Yorker you can talk shit with, and don't worry, Erky at some point will be back too to be able to do that with. But so that's the NBA. Everything going on in the playoffs. The 2-1 seeds taking care of business. Otherwise, great series throughout. Definitely has picked up. That Clippers Nuggets series, awesome.
Oh, that Aaron Gordon dunk at the
Didn't
end.
Yeah,
even mention
Oh
that. I
my
we
forgot
didn't
to
even
God.
mention
say
that.
that
That
was.
was
Yeah,
I
insane.
mean,
yeah.
unbelievable, insane buzzer
An over
beater.
pass.
And now we're gonna take all the NBA playoff talk and shift it to the other exciting sports calendar moment that occurred over the
Da-da-da,
weekend,
da-da-da.
and that is the NFL draft, where the Patriots sort of go with what we thought they would at the top of the draft, and then JMatt has
I
it
was
all for
wrong.
us. Let's start there. JMatt, break it down in terms of what was a eventful weekend for the Pats.
Yeah, so Plotty, we didn't get the fireworks that you had hoped for. We got
We
the
kind of
classic.
did.
I mean,
I mean,
there was
kind of.
chaos.
Jacksonville, and
There
So
was chaos.
there was chaos, but not like
not with
Patriots
us, not with
related.
us.
Yeah, not Patriot related. So they did exactly what we thought they were going to do, which is what you said, Will
They are who
Campbell.
we thought they were.
Yeah, 100%. We are who they thought they were.
You let them off the hook.
So yeah, I mean, I think honestly, I hope he turns into a good pick. That's gonna come down the line. We're not gonna know about that for at least a few years. Definitely some big question marks there, but I think they had to pick him there. They were kind of forced, and we can all blame Gerard Mayo if he doesn't pan out, and Bob Kraft for that matter. Other than that, so other draft tidbits are Patriots got in the second round, Travion Henderson, incredible running back, great pickup. Surprised that he was still on the board, honestly. I'm just gonna go through who they got, and then you guys will let y'all chime
Sure,
in.
yeah, yeah.
Round three, they got Kyle Williams out of Washington State, wide receiver. Also a great explosive, speedy guy. Round three, they got the first center off the board. I just realized that actually when I was putting this outline to get together this morning that first center off the board, most accomplished prospect at the position entering the draft, which is incredible. So put that behind Bradbury. That'll be great. He can learn from Bradbury too. Round four, they got Craig Woodson, excuse me, a safety out of Cal. Then they picked up
Not
a
related to Wad, to
No
Rod.
Charles.
The
unfortunately,
No
greatest
Charles.
Unfor-
interception
Charles.
ever.
yeah. I mean, not related, but hopefully will be just
That's
as
good.
good. I mean, if he's half as good, we'll take him. Half as
Sure.
good,
No, I know.
literally. Uh, Joshua Farmer out of defensive tackle in round
A
four,
fatty.
and then
The
big boy,
fatty.
305.
6'3",
And then
big boy.
round five, they addressed the an edge linebacker. Apparently, this was a little bit of a steal. This guy slipped a little bit, and they didn't think he was going to be there. And then kind of to round it out, they kicked the first kicker off. Took the first kicker off the board. They didn't kick the first kicker. They took the first kicker off the board.
Might be kicking him like Urban
And then
Meyer
they also
did.
took a long snapper and then
I
a
forgot about
kind of like a backup offensive tackle. So overall, I think they addressed the offense in the draft and in free agency was clear defense. So they had a plan 100% going into the draft and the free agency for that matter. So
That
open it
was a lot.
up.
That was a lot of fun breaking down the draft. Biggie, chime in. You got your Patriots gear on today.
Yeah, I was very happy with what they did throughout the draft. I think we all have questions about Will Campbell, but if he can come in and be competent at left tackle, competent for what we saw last year is such a huge improvement. So I hope he's better than just competent, but I think right now we can't sit here and say that the line isn't better than where it was a year ago. We have a legit right tackle. We have legit guards, center who started for another team for many years, and now we have a guy who's widely considered the best offensive tackle prospect at left tackle coming out in this draft. So I think that that's a great start. Trayvon Henderson, just lightning in a bottle. I saw something that I thought was great, and it was talking about like two plays that really defined his career, and it was his first play and his last play in his career. He caught a screen pass each time and took it to the house 70 yards, and he did that in Texas in the Texas game, and one of the biggest games of his life. This dude's a baller. Everything I've heard about him is he's a great person. He leads like Bible study all the time, apparently at Ohio State. So he's a man of God, which is never a bad thing. And I think in general, like Kyle Williams, I'm excited to see what Josh McDaniels cooks up with him. He can be used inside, outside. He's fast. I was looking at all of the videos of him. Steve Smith came out and said, if there's any prospect that reminds him of him, it's Kyle Williams. If Steve Smith is saying that you can be me, Steve Smith is a pretty good comparison as a player. So pretty excited about that. And then I think the center was also a great pick. He's widely considered as someone who could have gone even in the second round, and they just let him fall. They saw that he was continuing to be there. They picked up more assets along the way. That's the thing that was impressive about the draft. It wasn't just the picks. It was the way they maneuvered the board. And I think going to the fifth round, I'm going to skip the fourth round. Sorry for Mr. Woodson. But the fifth round, the players they took, the dude they took at nose tackle, Farmer, they knew that other teams were going to start taking that position. They took that position, that player, and then the next 3 or 4 picks were defensive tackles. So, like, they knew what other teams were going to do as well, and that's the thing that impressed me the most. And I think just in general, those 2 picks in the fifth round, those are the types of players that are meat and potato guys. Those are the guys that get you to where you need to be as far as building a solid defense. It's not always the first couple rounds that build your team. It's what you do throughout the duration of the draft. So overall, super happy. I think we added a bunch of talent to the roster. Do I wish there were other players that we could have potentially grabbed, like Cam Scatabo? Someone else on the pod here was lucky enough to get him on their team. So we'll segment that way in a little bit. But Sam, Plotty, any thoughts on the draft?
I mean, I want to touch on Will Campbell a little bit. I think this kid is already getting a lot of dirt from the Boston sports media. And as much as I love listening to 98.5, Felger and Maz, and Tool Bag of the Day, and all that stuff, I think J Matt and Eric, we talked about it. They have to fill a show. So they have to talk about something. Do I think 1-inch arms are going to make a difference? No, I fucking don't really think that at all. I really don't think that because the kid has 33-inch arms, he's not going to be a legitimate left tackle. I think he'll be able to do it. I think he just needs the right coaching, which he's going to get, and he needs the right mentoring veteran players around him to put him in the right direction to be actually successful as a guard in the NFL. So
I
that's
heard
my
something
take
funny,
on it.
Sam. I heard something funny that because he's 21, he's really young, and he played all this time at LSU. So like that should not be glossed over, right? Started as a true freshman for 3 years, and the SEC against some tough defenses. But someone said he's only 21, and like there's potential that he could continue to grow. I don't know how much truth to that there is, but maybe that arm length can continue to grow.
That arm length could grow. I mean, if the Patriots dietitian staff can get him going and the training staff, and start, doing the arm stretches, just pull him. Yeah, just grab 2 horses.
Stretch Armstrong.
And instead of drawn and quartered, we'll just do it halfway and we'll just stretch out his
just
arms.
pull on his fingers and see if he can stretch out a little longer every day.
Just keep feeding him.
I may not want to pull his finger.
We've broken.
I want to see Will Campbell squat 750. That's what I want to see.
It may happen, and he might wink at you in the process. Listen, the draft is the draft, right? We're excited about the prospects, but it doesn't really matter until they get out on the field and they start to perform and see what's going to happen. As Bernie
what
said,
about our homegrown players?
Will Campbell, 2-time All SEC player. A couple BC guys go in the second and third round as Raku and Trapillo.
Did you hear what Ezeraku said?
No.
So Ezeraku, this made me laugh so hard on Friday. He is so he grew up in Philadelphia, so he's an Eagles fan, and he got drafted by the Cowboys at 44. And he goes, well, at least in my last years as an Eagle fan, I got to watch a Super Bowl. And then he goes, I'm not an Eagles fan anymore. And I thought that was just funny because like you go from being a fan to a professional just like that. And so his comments to me made me laugh a little bit because, yeah, like the dude is a Cowboy now. He fucking hates the Eagles.
I just
Yep.
want to chime in actually. Abdul Carter, who went to Penn State, obviously Giants first round pick, also grew up an Eagles fan, grew up in the Philadelphia area. He actually unfollowed the Philadelphia Eagles on Instagram after he
Yes.
got
I
drafted
love
by the
that.
Giants.
See, I
Hey,
love
Right
that.
no, you
away,
got to
as soon
do
as he
it.
got
You
drafted,
got to do
unfollowed.
it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bring
Gonna
that
have,
energy. Bring that
I love
like these guys are competitors. They're bringing that energy
Yeah,
right
and
away.
NFC East rivals. Why not?
I
J-Mac,
love
bring
it.
the energy, close
Yeah,
us out of the draft.
one little tidbit about Travion Henderson, their second round pick is, and this is gonna be super helpful to the line and for Drake May because if the line's gonna have mistakes, they're gonna let people through. Is his blitz pickup is incredible. If you look up like YouTube, his highlight reel, his blitz pickup highlight reel, I actually watched it earlier today. It's incredible. He is just like so balanced, and he'll hit the player before the defensive player hits him, which is so big. Like you'll see his like. The way he like lunges out and gets like the balance and he just yeah, it's something else. So that's gonna be really helpful for Drake May. So something to keep an eye on is his blitz pickup.
Yeah, no doubt. Gonna be, I mean, I'm excited for the players that they picked. I think they addressed needs throughout the draft and free agency to round out the roster that they really needed to. Um, and we'll get to some more of the national draft stuff and Bernie chime in later, and we'll also talk about what was the biggest story out of the draft, which was obviously Shedeur Sanders and oh
Two big
yeah,
stories
oh
actually on
oh
Shador.
Oh,
oh yeah, and yeah, we'll wrap that all into that. But we're gonna keep things moving and around town because we also have the local nine who's been playing ball.
All
Lost
right,
him
we
there.
got the Red Sox. Hold on, I need someone to give me who was it? Not a John Henry, Tom Werner. Let's
Let's
go
let's
go
Red
go
Red
Red
Sox.
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 Let's go Red Sox.
All right, so since we last aired, we're kind of middling. We're mediocre. We're a 500 team. We suck. No, I'm just kidding. We're picking things up. Like I said, we're still gonna run into those hiccups. I'm not gonna break down things series by series here. We went 3-3. We lost one series. We won one series. Played Cleveland. We lost a series to Seattle. We won a series against Cleveland. But the biggest thing I want to take away though is that we're 30 games into the season. We're 2 games behind the Yankees, and no offense, Bernie, but they're kind of running off fumes. All the while, we're just trying to figure out who the hell we are as a team. We're kind of figuring that out and putting that out on the field. And then you add in the fact that we have legitimate starters like Brian Bayo and Lucas Giolito coming back. And I mean, it's kind of a perfect storm for this team, or it should be on paper. What's going to happen? Who really knows? Um, but yeah, for the most part, I mean, I'm really confident with where they are. I think they're in a really, really great spot moving forward. They're right in contention as we speak. They have a wild card spot. They still don't know who the hell they really are for the most part. They're trying to figure that out, and they will figure that out. That's why there's 162 games in an MLB season. Um, but for the most part, I mean, I could go game by game, but it's just pretty much dry. I'd rather just kind of shoot the shit and
Yeah, the
if
overall
Yeah.
takes from the week that
yeah, I
was for
mean,
the
what do you
Sox.
I have a
what do
take.
you guys think? Did anything
Yeah,
pump out to you?
something definitely has been a trend that I've noticed with the Red Sox. And it's not a great trend because you have Crochet, who's the stopper, absolute been, lights out. He had one bad start, I think, recently, but for the most
Yeah,
part, he's been really great. Tanner Houck needs to get it together. I said in our group chat that he has an ERA, I think, hovering around 9 right now.
Eight three
Um,
three.
yeah, he's been getting lit up. Like he can't get out of the first inning. He's tipping pitches. Something potentially might be going on
He's
with
tipping
that.
pitches.
But even regardless if he's tipping these pitches, it,
Figure it out.
he needs to figure it out because you can't have this crochet, and then start that's one step forward and then take another step back like 2 days later when you have this you can't get out of the first inning getting 4 runs and getting blown up. So that's my big take is that I think Tanner Houck needs to get it together, and that's going to put pressure on him with all these other pitchers coming back like you
He's
said, Sam.
he's gonna
So
go back to the bullpen.
he's gonna have to figure it out soon or yeah, something's going to happen. So
He's gonna go
it's
back to the
it's
bullpen.
a luxury to have, but that's definitely something to keep your eye on is Houck.
Yeah, they're gonna need him. They're gonna need all the pitching that's coming back, over the course of these next couple weeks. Giolito, why can't I remember the Australian guy? Why can't Liam Hendricks?
Liam Hendricks, he's
He's
back.
he's a roller coaster of fun when he's out there. Sometimes just throwing gas, and other times just throwing meatballs. So, listen, I do agree with you, Kraz. They're still kind of figuring it out. Yeah, we'd love to see them sort of go on a run, separate from that 500 mark a little bit, and cement themselves into a playoff spot. Some better competition in terms of games coming up. Bernie, how are things looking in New York with both of the teams over there? Any national baseball talk? See Frank the Tank from Barstool just trashing Juan Soto 24/7.
Well, he's
Juan
always
Juan Soso.
yeah, he's always gonna have his takes, and he's always gonna be negative towards the Mets. But the Mets actually have been red hot. I don't have their stats pulled up right in front
They're
of
the
me, but I
best team in
do
baseball
know
right now.
they are the best team in baseball, and I know that I think at
Not according to
home they've
Frank.
only lost like 1 or 2 games total at home this year,
Wow.
Wow.
which is
Really good,
very
yeah.
insane. So their pitching, which everybody doubted going into the year, is actually working very well for them. And yeah, I mean the bats are working too. Pete Alonso has gotten off to a really good start for the Mets. Soto has been a little bit slower, which as a Yankee fan sitting over here, I'm grinning a little bit. But yeah, I mean the Mets will be
Numbers
just
even out.
fine. So what's that?
The numbers even out. They always do.
Exactly,
Once it
right.
gets
He's
warm.
going to be the next
So,
Bobby Bonilla, so they're going to be
but no,
paying him
honestly
for
though,
that.
Bernie,
weather.
like
I don't know about
what
that.
do what are the Yankees doing as far as pitching and pitching depth goes? Because I know as far as like positional players, you guys are solid as far as offense goes. Like you really, I mean, you do have a little bit to worry about, but you really don't have a lot.
Yeah.
More so, what concerns me is your lack of pitching depth, and then the guy that you traded for as a closer is starting to melt
So
down, like
that's
I already predicted.
right. That is what I want to touch on as far as the pitching goes with the New York Yankees. It's the bullpen. I think the starters are just fine, and they've dealt with a lot of adversity already thus far. Losing Clark Schmidt and
Mm-hmm.
Luis Gil to start the year. Clark has now
Mm-hmm.
returned. He pitched yesterday. And Marcus Stroman went down, but I think every Yankee fan's okay with that. Losing Garrett Cole to start the year
That
hurts. But
sucks. That sucks.
you have a solid rotation even without Garrett Cole. Max Fried coming in was a great pickup for the Yankees. You have, Carlos Rodon, who's had some promising outings, but he can be a little inconsistent at times. You have Clark back. You're gonna get Heel back. They got Cookie Carrasco right now, which I forgot this guy was
What
still
a
playing.
name.
Carlos
Great name.
Carrasco, Cookie Carrasco. He's
That's
been
a,
okay
that's
so
almost as good
far,
as Cocoa Crisp. Not quite.
almost, not quite, but I think the rotation, as long as you can get a good solid 5 to 6 innings out of these guys, really you don't want to use your bullpen, or you want to use it as little as possible with the Yankees, because their bullpen is having issues. They have a good core of guys, but they do have some injuries. I'm going to get to Devin Williams real quick, but first I will say, I mean, they still have a couple of these middle long relievers that are injured, and that is going to hurt them. Guys like Ian Hamilton, who just came back, Loizaga, who's still injured. Who the hell knows when Scott Efros is going to
We're
come?
in the whole
He's been
fucking
waiting for
Yankees roster here. My God.
3 years.
Oh, we are
We've
on
been waiting for
Boston
Scott
Sports Show.
Efros. But
We got
yeah, I
Cookie
mean, the Yankees,
Carrasco, though.
Cookie Carrasco, look him up.
Hey,
Guardian legend.
if
Guardian
Bernie was
legend.
not
no.
talking about the Yankees roster, we would not have this Cookie Carrasco moment.
No,
Flash.
that's true. I mean,
That's
Cookie.
hey, for those of you listeners who play Immaculate Grid, and you're looking for a name, not even just rarity, and you just want a name. He's Carlos Carrasco, but you could try Cookie. All right, so
That might
but
be
yeah,
my
I
fantasy
mean,
football team name.
He's
I
Cookie.
grew up-
He's at least Cookie in our
Carrasco.
hearts.
He is Cookie in our hearts. The frustrating thing for the Yankees right now, and Kraz alluded to this beforehand, is our all-star closer, the guy that we traded for in the offseason, arguably that MLB Network was calling at the beginning of the year, the start of the year, the best closer in baseball today. Not the greatest of all time. I want to clarify. It's Mariano Rivera. But the best closer in baseball today, and Devin Williams. Met fans love to continue to chirp him because of the walk-off home run in the wild card that Pete Alonso had against him. People are saying that he hasn't, fully come back from that. New team hasn't adjusted fully. He has struggled significantly. Devin Williams, he's blown a couple saves now, and his ERA has skyrocketed. The Yankees are actually coming up, and I'll end with this. They're coming off of a Blue Jays series win. They won the first game on Thursday, Thursday. I'm sorry, Friday. And they were winning by, I want to say it was a run or two in the ninth inning. Devin Williams came in. It was a safe situation. He loaded the bases, walked a couple of guys, gave up a couple of hits, and we lost the game, arguably, or, in the bottom of the ninth. Now, Saturday got rained out, and on Sunday, we had a doubleheader. I was there yesterday, actually, and we swept. So we won the series, but they did not use Devin Williams at all yesterday. They're playing right now against the Baltimore Orioles. It'll be interesting to see how Aaron Boone uses him and kind of works him into the rotation, you got to assume he'll be the setup man because we got Luke Weaver, who has really earned himself his pinstripes and has been a great product in New York. Obviously a hero in last year's World Series. Despite us not winning it, he helped us win. On that run. But Devin Williams, in the meantime, is going to have a lot of figuring out to do, a lot of mechanics he's going to have to work through. It's only April, so I'm confident that he can turn the page around, but obviously very frustrating. We let him grow out the beard now, and we thought that would give him more
Should have
aura, and
never. Should
apparently it's
have. George Steinbrenner still rolling in
It's
his
the
grave over
media.
that
rolling in his
decision.
grave. But
Can't be
I still
doing
can't
that.
believe that.
Can't be doing
can't
that.
he can't do
Well,
the
it's
media.
frustrating. And we have Aaron Boone. I will end with this. Sorry.
that
Aaron
loser.
Boone did announce that he will be removed from the closer role as of yesterday morning. So they didn't use him at all during the doubleheader yesterday. It'll be interesting to see how much they use him in this road trip in Baltimore.
Enjoy AAA.
But
So,
yeah, we'll,
all
we'll
right,
see. We'll
that's
see.
debate. I mean, baseball. It's
Injury.
starting to heat up here. Yeah, go figure it out for a little bit
The
and see
weather, the
what we
weather's
want to
starting to
do.
feel good. I mean, Big Easty is finally coming around to baseball.
Yeah, well, we sort of ended there with George Steinbrenner rolling around in his grave, and there's the Boston Bruins are rolling around in their grave. They are
Wait.
not playing in the playoffs, and they had quite a press conference take place. I don't even know what day it was, but
Oh
J
my
Matt
goodness.
set up what was a horrendous press conference for the Bruins, and
Dawn.
then we'll dive into any NHL playoff takeaways.
Yeah, so the Bruins had a end of the season press conference with Charlie Jacobs, Cam Neely, and Don Sweeney, and it was, and these are Gabe's. This is how Gabe, our Bruins resident expert, who is not here with us tonight. These are his words, and I couldn't agree with him more. He said, "Personally, I thought this presser was an embarrassment for the Bruins management, and they sounded completely out of touch with the fan base, defending Sweeney's 2015 drafts and amongst other things. And I think his other things where they talked about ticket prices and how they were still going to increase next year
Mm-hmm.
after the awful product that they put on the ice, and that is just completely out of touch. They talked about how." That concession workers and people security staff need to get paid, and that was a reason why that they were. I'm like, how about you dig out of your own pockets because you're like billionaires and maybe you
Get out of
actually
that
pay your
Rolls Royce,
players,
asshole.
maybe you actually pay the concession workers like that. So just a complete embarrassment for the organization, especially with what Gabe said again about the draft, talking about 2015. Like we're talking about a decade ago. Like if you get over it. Like we're that's the last thing that people want to hear. Like just move on, go move to the future. We don't want to hear about 10 years ago. We want to hear about maybe 10 years from now and what we're going to look like. Hopefully 5 years or at most, but it was just an embarrassment and I'll open it up to you guys and Gabe couldn't have summed it up better.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm not a Bruins guy at all, but the only channel that I have working out on my TV is Nesson 360, and that was just on when I was studying, and I literally heard them. I think was it Charlie Jacobs? He was like,
Yep.
"Well, we're not going to raise. We're going to be raising the ticket prices, and we're not considering anything else." And I literally like stopped what I was doing, and I turned around and looked, and I was like, "Is this guy fucking serious?" That's literally what I said to myself, and it was just like. And Josh, like you said, they were just, defending 10 years ago. And it's like, dude, this is 2025. Let's focus on right now because right now is right now. And 10 years ago was 10 years ago. And I mean, I think we all learned a lot from 10 years ago to now. So,
I
Yeah, it
think
was embarrassment.
I think we learned what like that thing about the Bruins that we've asked ourselves time and time again, why are they infected with this thing when the biggest moments come or when everything starts to happen? And it's when the pressure is on, no matter what time it is, they get sensitive. The sphincter shrinks, and it's from top to bottom in the organization, from ownership on down,
closes.
because they can't handle it. They can't handle the fact that they are not a good enough team. They can't handle the fact that fans are upset about the product that they put on the ice. And that's why they went back in time and they're like, the comments that they should have just ended it after Charlie Jacobs' first 3 minutes because I was like, oh, it
Hmm.
looks like we're taking accountability here and that everything that they understand what happened. And like
Nope.
from there on out, it was a complete 180 fall on your face event. Um, I don't know. The Bruins have work to do. They have climbed out of this sort of hole before from a roster standpoint. This is a huge offseason because the Bruins cannot fade into irrelevancy here, being the kind of franchise that they are in the National Hockey League. So, any final takes on the Bruins? Otherwise, we'll dive into quick NHL playoff minute. Biggie, you got any takes?
Yeah, just real quick. Like I think, like even if there was some sort of accountability at the top, being like, "Hey, look, we thought we had a great core for a number of years. We were close to 19. We kept putting some teams out there. We won the President's Trophy a couple of years ago. Even last year, we thought that they had it. And, we ran it out this year thinking that we could do it. And clearly the bottom fell out, and we're here to kind of retool a little bit. I would have had a bunch of respect for them. But
Yep.
they are so proud that they can't even admit that. And that's
Mhm.
the problem. I think what you were alluding to, Plotty, is like the negativity, and it's the arrogance. It's the arrogance
Negativity in
for
this
me
town sucks.
Right in our
yeah, well,
face.
And to chime in, Kai Bloom from the Red Sox was the owners didn't show up. I don't mean to segue back to the Sox, but it kind of it mingles. He was the only one from ownership to show up at the winter meetings, and he got his ass chewed by the fans, and he owned it. He owned the Mookie Betts thing. He owned all of it. And then what happened? He got fucking fired.
Yeah, no, I mean, Chaim definitely got a raw deal, but I think again, it's the lack of accountability and the arrogance of like, hey, look what I've done for you guys, and like, don't be crapping all over my 2015 draft. Look at everything else, and I will give Don a lot of credit. He's a good trader. I think for the most part, the trades he makes, I do think he wins most of the time. His drafting sucks, so you want to own it. Say you're going to try something different this year. And I think speaking about the draft, Gabe put together 3 things that have to happen for the Bruins this offseason. I think all 3 of these things are incredibly crucial. First one, need to get a good head coach to come in and kind of build a culture on this roster. I don't know who is going to be the head coach, although I did see that, and I don't think this would happen just because of the family ties. I did see Mike Sullivan parted ways, I believe, with the Penguins. So,
Correct.
Not going to happen.
it's not going to happen because of the whole Charlie McAvoy being his son-in-law thing, but it would be interesting. But I'm honestly not sure who they're going to bring in. I don't know if you guys have heard any names, if there's anyone that's top of your list, but honestly couldn't tell you who's going to be the next guy to come in.
Sure, that'll heat up. Touch on the other 2 things that Gabe had, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the other 2 thing is, the Bruins with their terrible performance this year are going to have a potential top 5 pick, and they need to absolutely nail this pick. This is a pick in a deep draft that could be a cornerstone for the franchise for years and years and years to come. So they need to absolutely nail this pick. Don Sweeney, everything I just said about you being a terrible drafter, just do this one pick well, and things can be redeemed a little bit. And then lastly, they need to spend money. This is exactly where we're going to see if this is a rebuild or a retool. That is where it's going to come down to. Are they going to spend money and invest in the roster? Because this roster is not decrepit. But if they're not going to spend the money to build like where we need this roster the most, in the center position and a bunch of other places, we are going to be a bad franchise for a few years. So I'm hopeful that that's not the case, because the NHL, I think, is the only league where you can really turn around from year to year. You can be a team that's not good one year and you can make the playoffs the next, and vice versa. And you can get in as an 8 or 7 seed and make a run. Who knows? But they're not going to have an opportunity if they don't spend money.
Well,
Eerily, it's just eerily similar how the Bruins are to the Patriots right now. It's actually kind of crazy how far they've fallen in such a little amount of time.
Well, maybe we'll be raving about the Bruins draft like we are about the Patriots.
All
Wouldn't
3
that be nice?
sports, really, honestly, the Sox do.
one can
The only
only
team
hope.
that really did it right was the Celtics.
No doubt.
I think Brad
But
Stevens for that.
No, you can thank Danny Ainge for that.
Well, Danny Ainge, but yeah.
Sure. I mean, they all have a lot to do with it. I mean, Bruins have a lot of work to do this offseason, undoubtedly. I think you'll start to hear more and more in terms of head coach and free agency talk in the coming weeks here as the offseason starts to heat up. We're going to do a rapid fire NHL playoff, just sort of update here. I'll put everything on the table, and then if anybody has any takeaways from NHL playoffs, you can chime in. But the Panthers lead their series against the Lightning 2-1. We're obviously watching that with Marchand. The further they go, the better that pick becomes. Monty, St. Louis Blues tied up with the Winnipeg Jets, the 1 seed versus the 8 seed, 2-2 in that series. Leon Draisaitl keeps things rolling for Edmonton last night, an unreal goal in overtime to tie that one up. The Avs and Stars at 2-2, Wild and Knights at 2-2, and then the Hurricane, Maple Leafs, and Caps all at 3-1 over their respective opponents. So any NHL playoff takeaways, fellas?
Yeah,
Biggie, go ahead.
I have one quick. NHL playoffs has been tremendous, and overall as a product, much better than the NBA playoffs so far this year. And that's not saying the NBA playoffs are bad. I am a huge NBA fan, but just you going through and reading through how all those series are at 2-2 right now, and those series have been battles from what I've seen. Just a great product that the NHL puts out in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So again, not poo-pooing the NBA playoffs because I love the NBA. I just think the competitiveness in NHL starts much earlier in the playoffs than where it does in the NBA
100%.
playoffs.
100%, Eric. That's just how it always been. I think it's been like that for the last 30, 40 years or something like that. It's just the top teams in the NBA are gonna make it to the second round at
Yeah.
least for the most part. For the most part. I mean, the Lakers, they're always a
Yeah, but
question
they're
mark.
not. But like
Gotta
they're a
gotta
top
worry
team.
about them. So
They're a top team
Knock
in a
on some wood.
loaded conference. Like the Wolves are not your average 6 seed. So like
Yeah.
I do understand
So,
what
But
you're
we
saying.
did bring
But
in a
back
superstar
back
halfway
back to
through
the
the year.
NHL.
sorry.
Back to the NHL. One series that I think is 3-1 that's commanding that I wish was gonna be drawn out a little bit longer. It's been super entertaining. Is the Capitals versus the Senator? I know, sorry,
Canadians.
the Montreal Canadiens. Yeah,
The
incredible. Like I don't know if
Canadiens.
any of you saw the fight on
Oh,
the bench at the
the
end of the game
Canadiens.
with Tom Wilson and the Canadian guy. So it's just been very physical, very entertaining. I wish that was going to go a little longer. It's probably not going to, but it's been some fun hockey, and it's always good to see the Canadians get their ass whooped. So.
Is it
Yeah.
okay? I'm going to hit you.
Good playoff.
Call the police. Chara, that's assault.
Oh, Pacioretty,
What's
poor
that?
Max Pacioretty. So that's going to do it for Around Town, fellas. Great Around Town, touching on all the sports, both near, far, and wherever people are here in the country. And right here,
Had to
right
get that
now,
trademarked.
it's the time of the day where Big E takes it away.
All right. It's my favorite time of the pod. It's the time where we
What
talk
about
about
the
the
week?
things.
Is it your
That's
favorite
it.
time
You
of the
want to?
week?
It's my favorite time of the week. You want to?
Oh,
Thank you for the
yeah.
correction there, Plotty. I appreciate that. It is my favorite time of the week. It's a time where we talk about the things that we don't like, the things that drive us nuts, the things that bug us, the things that make us go, yeah, oh, like what's going on here, right? And then there are the things that are tremendous, stupendous, fantastic, and those are the things that make me go, oh yeah, the things that make me get excited. All right. So who's got a yeah oh or an oh yeah this week?
Let's get it started,
Let's-
boys. Let's get it started. Krause, go ahead.
What about let's talk about Shador Sanders and the whole debacle of A, him not getting picked till when he did, and B, the whole meltdown with
Is that a
the
yeah? Oh yeah, or not? Or yeah? Oh.
It's a yeah.
I mean,
Oh.
for me
Yeah,
that
oh,
for me that's
boy.
like I mean that's almost like an I mean I really don't know what I wrote was that it's really tough to have mixed emotions for someone who grew up with generational wealth and the genes that he has and the path that he was given. I mean the kid got a fucking cell phone handed to him for draft day. I mean the fuck is that? I've had one cell phone for 10 years now. Like, so I mean, yeah, it's fucked up. That was his day, and someone kind of fucking ruined it, like a little dick doink fucking pledge.
I don't
And
think
and
they kind of ruined it. I think they totally
no,
ruined it. And it's for you want to.
no, he
I
got
don't care.
drafted. He got
No.
drafted.
But like that's so childish of that kid, especially the defensive coordinator of
Well,
Atlanta.
That's
he's
the
a
wild
To be able
child.
to, like that's
He's
a
a
huge
child.
yeah. Oh,
He
Jeff
is a
Ulbrich.
child.
Yeah,
he's not.
Jeff.
He's not a child at
Yeah.
20. He's old enough to know that that's not cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
fucked
yeah,
up.
but when he's with his friends and he's trying to get into somewhere and he's like, oh my dad's a blah, 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 that people do stupid shit. And that's what happens.
Speaking of doing stupid shit, I think there's a Yao that I think we're all gonna agree is just despicable, an unbelievable thing that you can't do is a fan at the Cleveland Guardians and the Red Sox game taunted Jared Duran, who had recently come out with a documentary saying that he attempted suicide. And if anyone is ever feeling down like that, I highly hope you seek out help. There's always hotlines. I don't know the hotline. I think it might be
988.
988. Yep, 988. So if you have any problems, always reach out. But you just can't do that this day and age. You can't do that in any day and age. But to do that in front of people, in front of just strangers that you don't know, to call that to a professional player is just you're a real piece of shit to do that. Like, come on. I hope that dude never gets invited back to an MLB ballpark. I hope he gets internet should do what they do best, and it's just a big, huge oh yeah.
Oh, the
Despicable.
internet's gonna do what they're
let's-
gonna do. They're gonna find that guy.
Yeah. Oh,
let's
yeah. Oh, not a no,
let's
yeah.
let's talk about it as sports fans because we've all heckled. Plotty, you mind when you were heckling the shit out of that bald guy, and I'm like, look, I'm like nubbing you, and I'm like, look at me, motherfucker, I'm bald, and you're like, I don't give a fuck. But that's the nature of the game. But there wasn't anything callous about it. You know what I mean? It was
No,
just it was fun natured.
That's the biggest thing is that there's a way to heckle and there's a way to go to a game and with other fans of opposing teams or with players for that matter. There's things that you can say within the context of the game that contributes to the environment. But when you like particularly go at a very sensitive issue like this with Duran, who's like on the record multiple times in terms of how his
Hmm.
mental health, um, that fan is despicable, shouldn't be allowed at sports, should be outed across social media like this
Hmm.
kid, the son of the Shedeur Sanders incident with the defensive coordinator of Atlanta. Like, just out him. Like, this guy doesn't deserve to do that. And I feel terrible for Durant. You're like you're like figuring out what you need to do to get through every day in a season in a job that's a lot of pressure as it is. You don't need some fucking knucklehead doing
Hmm.
that. Just
You're
despicable.
becoming putting yourself vulnerable, putting yourself out there for millions of people, and then you have someone make a comment like that. It just it makes that stigma continue to stay there, and it
Yeah.
makes it
Yeah.
makes it not move forward in the way that it should be, and
And
that's what pisses me off more than anything.
And to wrap this on a little the as you can, as much as you can on a bright note, is I will say that Duran did
Always.
say that he loved the support he was getting from his teammates, from the umpires, from the security staff that intervened
True.
and got the guy out. So they everyone did what they needed to do to help Duran. So that's the
Even the
best thing that you
fans, man.
yeah,
Even
Yeah.
the
that
Shout out
fans.
they
Cleveland
pointed him
fans.
out.
90,
Yeah.
not this is shout out to Cleveland fans for pointing
Cleveland
at who
Indian
it was.
Guardian
And
fans.
yeah, yeah,
Just
it's
the best thing
okay.
you
It's
Oops.
can
institutional.
hope for out of a situation like that.
Hey,
So
I hope
No
if
um
doubt.
someone was doing
Let's
the same thing at Fenway to an opposing fan, to opposing
We would
team,
do the
like that,
same exact
we
thing.
would point that person out and say, "Get this guy
Say,
out of here."
get this
mhm.
fucking asshole out. He
100.
doesn't represent us.
Hundred
Yep.
percent, 100%. Let's move on to some lighter oh yeahs and yeah ohs. I'll throw a few out here. Baron Sorrell gets into day three on the draft, sort of sitting there in Green Bay. Green Bay announces him, and then he gets to come out to the home crowd. So that was awesome to see. Uh, we talked on the Shedeur Sanders. There's so much more with that story, but I feel like it's been talked over 10 times in the media that we don't really need to do it here. But like, just a complete shit show. I think what Sam said really summed it up. Like his the way that things went behind the scenes didn't translate to what NFL teams were looking for. That's the best way to say it. Uh, yeah. Oh, the end of that Celtics game,
Yeah,
three
can
with
I
the
take this one?
time. Like, of course, of
Oh,
course.
yeah. I just think like the NBA's got to take a page out of the NFL's book. Honestly, the NFL, they have like their control center call things in 2 minutes under the game when the game is on the line and the calls need to be right. The end of that Celtics Magic game three, like the officiating was awful. They missed so many calls, but to me, it was the clock mismanagement at the end. They got the ball and called
Yep.
timeout, and there was about zero point 0.7 seconds on the clock, and they kept it at zero point 0.3. And for some reason, they couldn't change it because there
Terrible.
wasn't an official replay. Like that's something that the NBA needs to step in and because that is preventable, and that's something that like fans at home and fans in the arena can frankly see that
Mhm.
something is off there when that call was made. So to me, huge yao. That's like a huge problem with the product I have with NBA playoffs is the NBA should have the sack to make sure that the calls are right and not worry about hurting the refs' feelings.
Yeah,
Yep.
the refereeing
Ego.
overall in the playoffs has been suspect pretty much everywhere. Uh, it's just been nonsense. Like things as you said, Biggie, that should be reviewed that haven't. Maybe the biggest yeah-oh out of the
Whoa.
entire weekend is this,
Wow.
and that is Coach Bill Belichick sitting down on CBS Sunday morning. You know, the sun comes up. It's a beautiful Sunday. You're sipping there with your coffee, and then this motherfucker in his ripped Navy shirt and Jordan Hudson right
Oh, sad.
alongside has one of the most unbelievable. So how did you meet? Well, we're not talking about that. But guess
We
what?
can't
We
do
are.
that.
We're talking about it right fucking now.
What
That was
happens
the
in
most
Vegas
unbelievable
stays in
thing.
Vegas.
Oh,
They met
Bernie,
on they met on a
hold on.
plane.
Time out, Bernie. Do you have a thought?
Oh,
I said what happens in Vegas stays in
Well,
Vegas.
clearly it's
Nice.
been brought into the
oh,
public eye. So, I
I
mean, that
think
is certainly a theory that's being floated out there.
I think Jordan Hudson. I think she's waiting around, seeing what happens with Bill. I'll just keep it at that.
Fair.
She ain't
Fellas,
signing
any
no
takes?
annulment, I'll tell you what.
I think I think that what they've put out there on social media over the past 6 months and some of the photos that we've seen, in particular, the mermaid photo and him as the
Oh,
Groton's fisherman, and then the beach where they're doing the yoga and
Yoga.
the Pilates and he's lifting her up like the
it's
Titanic pose, and the lobster the other day with the fucking fruit and the
The
ice cream.
strawberries.
And I'm
Yeah.
her
just
at the
like,
practice.
her at the
it's
practice.
crazy.
That
It's
would have
like
never happened in New
What is he
England.
That would have
doing?
never happened here.
It's
it
it's
is.
Never.
sad.
It's
It's actually sad.
insane. It's absolutely
Sad.
insane. The coach who said
Is he whipped?
don't bring
I
any
think he's losing it.
he's
I think
whipped,
he's
and
whipped.
I
I
think he's
think
losing it.
it's
No, it's called whipped,
it
Josh.
doesn't
I don't know,
make any
man.
sense. The guy who
He's
said
whipped.
that don't bring any distractions into the team or create things off the field that are going to get talked about, like this is getting talked about, is
Hey,
somehow at the fucking forefront of it all. It's
I'm
the
just
most
happy. I'm just happy that
mind-boggling
Bill.
thing.
I'm just happy that Bill's happy.
Congrats on the sex, Bill.
He's gonna be making Viagra. Very happy.
It's a
Very,
throwback
very
to McCarthy,
happy
Josh.
product.
Congrats on the
Uh,
sex. Yeah, shout out Matt McCarthy. Shout out Jerry Thornton, who will be with us next week. We'll talk some more
Careful of that
Patriots and
blood
draft.
pressure, Bill. Be careful of your blood pressure, Bill. We don't
My
want you to
God,
tank.
just a crazy thing. J Matt, you had a from the draft
I just
experience.
the first round is just too long. It's crazy.
Oh,
Like why do these
tighten it up.
why do these teams why are we giving them 10 minutes and then like they take the whole 10 minutes? Like I just
Oh,
it's stupid. Like
the NFL
I don't get it.
ruined
I don't get it.
what it used
You
to be.
could you could tell Cam
Dude,
Ward was going first because he was
Yeah.
crying. They panned up to him and then he was on the phone. And they panned out, and it's like, well, why did you pan out all of a sudden?
Why
wonder
are we wasting everyone's
Why-
time? Like I don't
Why
why
are
get
you
it.
did we
panning back
ruin-
in on him and his eyes are all glossed over and all red?
Why-
Because he fucking just cried because he got picked first. No,
Why
duh.
did we ruin? Why did we ruin? Which used to be one of the best weekends in sports. You get together with your boys
They had
Saturday
the
morning.
cubicle.
You
they had
you
the
got the
cubicle,
first
and
three.
they had
You
the
got the first three
cubicle.
rounds on Saturday. Oh, and then you get back together on Sunday, and you got rounds 4 through 7. Why did we ruin this? It boggles my mind.
Made for TV event, bringing in all the people in for a long weekend to the different places
So
that they're
dumb.
hosting it. It's all about the money in the NFL. That does it for our oh yeahs and yeah ohs. Bernie, you got any oh yeahs and yeah ohs you want to throw in the mix?
Yeah, I can do a little New York minute here, or I can do the yeah, oh yeah, whatever you guys want. So,
Whatever you wanna
this
do,
is
brother.
Bernie's time. So you
This is
take it
Bernie's-
first.
off,
Bernie's
I-
corner.
I want to talk about the NFL draft. I was really locked in on that. You guys talked about Shadur. I don't want to touch on any of that. We've crossed that bridge with Shadur Sanders and what the Cleveland Browns are doing. I just want to say, first off, you mentioned Baron Sorrell, but it was pretty cool. I'm just going to quickly touch on this, and then I'll get into my New York Football Giants. But Matthew Golden. I don't know if you guys saw that pick. That was really cool. Just watching him. He was in attendance. He came down. The Packers called his name. It was like the coldest walkout. Everybody was chanting "Go Pack." I'm not even a Packers fan. I was just like, that's fucking awesome. Like I was watching at a bar. I was like, that's fucking awesome. You know, just seeing like everyone chanting, and he grabbed the mic and he was like, "Let me get a Green Bay on 3." And he was just so hyped, and you could see the emotion. I mean, that's what the draft is all about. So, really cool moment there for Matthew Golden, the receiver. It's the first time ever, I think they said, since 2002 that they drafted a wide receiver in the first round. And fun fact about him is he's born in 2003. So the last time they drafted a Green Bay Packer and wide receiver, the Green Bay Packers drafted in the first round was the year before the wide receiver they just drafted was born, which is insane. But yeah, the oh yeah is my New York Football Giants. I mean, first off, I do want to preface by saying I do think the two winners of draft weekend
Hoop is
were
this
the
is
New
for
England
you, by the
Patriots.
way.
We're the New England Patriots and the New York Giants, but I'm just
Crushed
very
it.
impressed. I'm very impressed. I don't want any more Joe Shane slander. I know we heard it all with Hard Knocks and Saquon and everything, and free agency, I'll admit he's not the best. But when it comes to the draft, getting Malik Neighbors and Tyrone Tracy last year, and then this year getting Abdul Carter at 3, trading up to get Jackson Dart with pick number 25 was awesome, and then jump down to the 4th round, so the third. And the best part about that
crush.
trade, your crush. The best part about that trade though is that they didn't give up a future first. So worst comes to worst, if Dart is shit, they could still draft a quarterback in the 1st round next year. They did an unbelievable job with the draft. The 4th round they get probably, I know Big E, it's his draft crush, but honestly, it might be my draft crush too. Cam Scatterbo. This
Plenty of
guy,
room on the
this guy
bandwagon.
is unbelievable. I mean, Tyrone Tracy Scatterbo, I think you said it in our group chat, might be one of the best running back tandems in the league, aside from maybe Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery in Detroit. But, I mean, unbelievable job what the Giants did. And Abdul Carter joining that front 7. I mean, is there a better defensive line, a better edge rusher, better linebackers than Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Abdul Carter, Kayvon? I mean, it's unbelievable. Now, I still think we're winning like 5 games next year because,
Right.
we have a lot
This is
to
so
determine.
good.
But I know that
You
was going to be your
killed
guys'
it.
follow-up question. But
Giants country, let's
I
ride.
was literally, I was
So good.
great. I will say
literally waiting to
All
be like,
that,
so
all
who's
that to
throwing the
go.
ball?
5 wins.
All
It's
all
so good.
that for some crab legs coming your way, baby.
Oh my God! Please let him play. I
would
mean,
be
What
the
a-
an
Russell Wilson,
interesting quarterback
the Russell
room.
Wilson signing, to me, just
okay.
like it
First of
ruined
all,
things.
wait. Can I comment on that? You
preach
said
to
it's
the
an
God.
interesting quarterback room. I don't want to hear interesting quarterback room because look at what Cleveland did, right? Look
Well,
at
Yeah,
well,
that's
Cleveland.
banana land.
that's
Right?
true.
That's
New
an interesting
York
quarterback
compared to Cleveland. I mean, I'll take Russ. I'll take Jameis. Tommy.
Maybe
Cutler's
Russ
killer,
can tame
but
Jameis down a little
Honestly,
bit so he won't steal
I
crab
would
legs.
appreciate
What
if you
is-
guys traded Jameis to us. I would love Jameis to be our third quarterback.
Jameis.
yeah. I mean,
The entertainment value is off the
I
charts.
don't
with
know.
him.
Looks like
I'm
Bernie
not
wants to eat
complaining.
a W.
I'm eating W. We got Mr. Unlimited. We got the Dart side, Jackson Dart. I mean, he's got the Anakin Skywalker black. I mean,
Oh.
it's a
John
good
Gruden loves that
it's
kid.
a good
He
time to be
loves him.
optimistic. I watched that the other night. That was fucking phenomenal. That
Yeah,
quarterback.
well,
class
everyone's
is
gotten
good.
themselves off over all their
Um,
draft picks and who's coming to their team.
Well,
Everybody's excited. Let's see how
it's
this all
exciting.
plays
Oh, the
out.
Jaguars, they're real excited about Travis Hunter. He's
Dude,
gonna play both ways.
did you see that
Travis
GM?
Hunter looks like a little kid.
That GM is younger than us.
That GM
Oh, yeah.
like thought he was giving a presidential address at the beginning of Travis
Did anyone see
Travis
Travis Hunter?
Travis Hunter's introductory press conference. He was like,
It's like walking through the hallway dancing.
yeah, just
He put the helmet on and I was like, this kid's gonna get hit by someone that's like 6'2" and 220, 230 at full speed and just get fucking rocked and not know what's coming. So we'll
what
see
I
if the
don't
kid's good.
what I don't understand. I just want to go back to the Browns just for 1 second while we're on Travis Hunter. If they didn't want to trade out of the second pick, they could have drafted Travis Hunter, and if they all along were planning on getting Shadur, they could have just reunited. I don't know why they drafted Dylan Gabriel and then traded out of the second overall pick to get the fifth. I mean, I know they got a haul of picks back, but like if Shadur was always the plan, just stay at 2, knowing everyone's going to pass on him and just reunite the college teammates. I
What
guess.
about the Jags? The Jags. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that Trevor Lawrence is a sure thing anymore. He's kind of at this point, you would say more of a bust than anything.
What about
I mean,
Pittsburgh? What is Pittsburgh doing?
Yeah. Oh my God, they're
They're
waiting
waiting
on
for
Aaron
Aaron
Rodgers.
What is, I mean,
Rodgers.
Aaron
everyone's
Rodgers is
getting on
holding
the
them
Giants.
hostage.
What are the Steelers? Who's their quarterback? Like,
Well, I can tell
Mason
you where
Rudolph.
Aaron Rodgers is. Aaron Rodgers is in somewhere in the Amazon taking ayahuasca as we
he's
speak.
in the dark. He's in the dark
Like-
space. Or whatever.
Yeah, he's definitely doing the drugs, that's for sure.
Dark hole.
Who knows if he'll come back? But the draft is always entertaining, always great things that come out of the draft, lots of different storylines. Excited as it's just another inch towards football season as we get there. So all the voluntary workouts and that stuff and minicamp are sort of the next things on the docket. Schedule a release day in the middle of May, so we'll take a look at that when that comes out. And Big
I do
E's
have
got
one
one
more-
final
one
point
more-
before
one
we hit
more,
the
oh, yeah.
pike.
Oh, yeah.
I want to give an oh yeah to Pat the Patriot for coming out to the pancreatic
Oh,
cancer awareness
yes.
walk.
Big E, I mean-
I was hyped to see him even in the rain, and I was like, hey man, like, let's go draft day, let's go. Got excited.
Let's
We even did
segue
a
back
little-
to the Patriots because
We-
I
Check
think
out the
they're
socials.
missing. I
Yeah.
think they're missing an opportunity to sign a really, really well coordinated and really, really fundamentally sound guard. And he's
Goes by
It's
the
a
name
local
of Big
product.
Easty.
Big
You know,
Easty.
I really saw
went to UMass.
the footwork was just on display. Like the way he got those feet moving, they were chopping, they
Shuffling.
were going up and down.
It was the quick
we
first
gotta
step
work-
I've ever
how
seen in my
big
life.
are his arms though?
we gotta work on the explosion a little bit of the arms.
34 inches.
34
All
inches.
right. I
There
think,
it
I
is.
think that meets
He's
the
got
quota. I
34
think
inch
we're good.
arms.
From
so
the
he's
ball
good.
joint to the tip of the middle finger, as Tony Maz would say. So from the tip of the middle finger to the exits on the pike that you can take
Hey,
in, and we're gonna
as the
we're gonna
train
take
goes
it.
back on the
I did tell Pat
tracks.
the Patriot we're gonna see him at training camp. He said, "Come find us."
We sure
Yeah.
will. We sure
Karen.
will. Lots of
Karen.
people to go see at Patriots training camp in the summer months, which we're looking
gonna be a
forward
time.
to.
Jerry, Karen. Yeah.
Yes, we won't be taking the pike to Patriots training camp, but we will be taking it right now to end the episode here. A great one as always. Celtics hope to close out the series against Orlando tomorrow night in Game 5, and then what might match up for the first time in I believe 40 plus years, a Celtics and Knicks playoff series that is later than the first round in the playoffs. So
Let's
it'd
go.
be great to
That'd
have
be
Garden
fun.
series.
That'd be really, really fun.
it would be awesome. It would be great for basketball, undoubtedly. In a way, I'm kind of rooting for that.
Great for the
sure.
cities.
Yeah,
Yeah,
undoubtedly.
huge. Great for the NBA.
The
Yeah.
Knicks can come to the real Garden.
That's right.
Oh.
Oh God.
Whoa.
Fighting words.
Whoa.
Bernie looked
Whoa.
like his head was about to explode right there.
You guys are named after a bank. What is, I mean,
Yeah,
No, we're not.
A Canadian
I mean,
bank,
we are.
actually, too.
That is
Yeah,
true.
we actually are.
quite
I thought he
certainly
meant the
are.
Fleece
Toronto
Center. And then
Dominion.
we went from one bank to another bank. So
Yeah, that's right. Well, finance, baby,
Very good.
finance.
Hey,
Sox.
we're not owned by James Dolan.
Yeah,
that's true.
True.
Yeah,
Got me there.
That's good.
Fair, fair. There's always ownership issues in both cities. That's true. Finally, Sox take on Toronto north of the border. Then they come back and play the Twins here to have their week ahead. And nothing going on, obviously, schedule standpoint, Bruins and Pats, but we'll keep up with everything going on in their off seasons. Gentlemen, any final takes? Otherwise, it's always great to see you. And that's going to do it on this episode of the Boston Sports Brothers podcast. Bernie alongside. We're gonna have to come up with a name for Bernie's segment. Big E had Bernie's Bodega, kind of like that.
I like
I
it.
like that.
I like it.
Bernie's
Bernie's
Bodega.
Bodega.
Just go in, grab yourself a Powerade,
do it.
grab yourself a
Yeah.
little snackaroo, get the fuck out.
What color Powerade?
Blue.
Skinny
Yeah,
blue.
Blue.
undoubtedly.
Blue.
See, I
Blue.
I knew it.
Yeah.
You know,
This
crowd
is
knows.
this is why we're brothers.
Oh,
Sure
Josh,
is.
Josh got another one.
No, the good Powerade. Bernie's burned down. Ooh, yeah. Well, that happens right after the show right now. All right, everybody, take care. Good to see you.
Be good or be good at
Thanks
it.
for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Later.